But we'll start this hour with the news which will provide some real relief for Manchester United fans. In the last hour, they finally agreed a deal with Brentford for the signing of Bryan Mbeumo. They've gone backwards, they've gone forwards, they've gone backwards, they've gone forwards. Finally, the deal is agreed. I'm joined by Dharmesh Sheth. Dharmesh, what else can you tell us about this one?
Yeah, it looks like the saga is close to coming to an end. This started about 6 weeks ago, didn't it? Manchester United making that bid of £45 million plus £10 million in performance-related add-ons. Then another bid went in worth £62.5 million. I think Brentford were really, really steadfast and stubborn in their approach to this. They had a figure in mind and they said, we are not going to go anywhere below that. And finally, the two clubs have met, and it is a deal worth £71 million. Manchester United will pay an initial fee of £65 million plus £6 million in performance-related add-ons. The initial fee, the £65 million, will be paid in 4 instalments. And that's where the information I was getting was where the crux of this deal was going to be. Manchester United weren't too far away on the overall fee. It was always going to come down to the structure that would suit both Brentford and Manchester United. Because if it had been in like 3 instalments, that probably wouldn't have worked for United on the one hand. But with it being 4 instalments now, they get to spread that cost over 4 periods as opposed to just 3 instalments. So the deal is now agreed. We expect Bryan Mbeumo to have a medical in the coming days, and there is a growing optimism that he will be part of Manchester United's squad for their pre-season tour of the United States, and they take off for that tour on Tuesday.
OK, so a bit of a rush from a Manchester United point of view. Brentford ended the season in such great shape, but they've now lost their manager, gone to Tottenham. They've lost their captain, gone to Arsenal. Now they've lost their top scorer off to Manchester United. Where does it leave them?
I mean, they have got good money for Bryan Mbeumo. They have got good money for Christian Norgard as well, who you mentioned has gone to Arsenal. It was, of course, a big blow losing Thomas Frank, the head coach, who went to Tottenham Hotspur. But focus will now, I guess, be on Johan Wissa. And the noises we've been hearing throughout this transfer window is that Brentford do not want to sell both Bryan Mbeumo and Johan Wissa in the same transfer window. Now, we do know that alongside the interest in Bryan Mbeumo from Manchester United, there has been big interest in Johan Wissa, not least from Newcastle United, because they've turned their attention to Wissa following the news that Liverpool are pursuing a deal for Hugo Ekitike. Nottingham Forest have bid for Johan Wissa before. They remain interested, and I'm sure Thomas Frank himself, when he faces the media in around an hour or so from now, will be asked the question whether Tottenham Hotspur are still interested in Johan Wissa, because of course he managed him so well last season. But the noises we're getting right now is that Brentford aren't under any pressure to sell. He's got a year left on his contract, but crucially, there's an option to extend that contract by a further year. They do not want to sell both Mbeumo and Wissa in the same transfer window. I know you can never say never, because if an incredible bid was to come in, Brentford probably would have to think about it. But the amount of goals that they would lose from last season if both of those players were to leave, I don't think Brentford want to go down that way.
Yeah, I don't think their fans would want that either. As for Manchester United, closing in on a second big transfer of the summer, Matheus Cunha's already signed and Mbeumo looks like he's well on his way. Where will they shift their focus next, do you think?
In a word, exits. I think they want to generate some money, particularly from those 5 players that they gave a little bit of extra time to try and sort out their futures. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony and Tyrell Malacia. Let's start with Rashford. Juventus, we're told, have explored the conditions of a deal for Marcus Rashford, as have Barcelona. We know Barcelona have got a long-standing interest, and it's mutual because Marcus Rashford wants to go to Barcelona. However, the transfer fee and the personal terms, both of those could prove to be stumbling blocks. Hence why, after he went on loan to Aston Villa last season, for the second half of last season, you can't rule out another loan in this transfer window either. I think it would suit Barcelona, probably not so much Manchester United, because they would prefer a permanent deal. However, if they were to do a
Fabrizio Romano reveals Manchester United's next target after Bryan Mbeumo deal nears completion. Renowned transfer expert Fabrizio Romano has given Manchester United fans an exciting glimpse into the club's transfer strategy, revealing the next signing the Red Devils are targeting once they finalise their deal for Brentford winger Bryan Mbeumo. Manchester United are reportedly in the final stages of securing a deal for the Cameroonian forward, with negotiations progressing smoothly and personal terms nearly agreed. Mbeumo, known for his explosive pace, creativity, and eye for goal, is expected to add much-needed flair and consistency to United's right flank, according to Romano. Once Mbeumo's move is completed, United will turn their full attention to signing a central midfielder, a position Ruben Amorim has prioritized to bolster his squad spine. The club's top target in that position is believed to be Manuel Ugarte of Paris Saint-Germain.
Make him a Manchester United player. We're expecting United to make an offer soon. They're optimistic of a deal to sign him. They'd love him to be there in time to be part of their pre-season squad. They head to America very shortly. Their last offer wasn't too far away in terms of the actual fee, but will the too far away in terms of structure